Performers and Achievers. Welcome to Performers and Achievers Daily with me, Raj Gavurla. In today's episode, we are discussing the importance of letting go or removing weight. And in this context, what I mean by weight is something that's weighing you down, right? Sometimes we want to keep adding things. And in reality, that's just too much, too soon. Examples are in your AM routine, in your late afternoon routine, in your PM routine. If you make it so complex that it wears you out, it bogs you down, then something in that routine needs to be removed. Okay. So that's very important to keep in mind. So that is also the same as anything that you do, right? Something's bogging you down. If you have a piece of technology and all of a sudden this technology has malfunctioned, it doesn't work anymore for whatever reason. For example, in me in business, one time my computer stopped working and I could either repair it or I could get a new computer with more functionality, more everything. And so the best thing to do was to remove the old computer. Now, did that take an investment? Yes. However, that's a business essential. So that was something that was needed to be invested in. However, this occurs in lots of other ways. Sometimes we're too hard on ourselves, right? We want to keep pushing through something, and we want more effort. It's just that, are you pushing harder or more effort in the right area? In the right area. I see a lot of people get injured because of this. They're not pushing themselves more in the right area. They're not making more effort in the right area. And this is exactly where I come in. This is exactly where someone who has expertise comes in. I happen to have expertise in mental performance or mental toughness or mental strategies, mental skills, mental preparation, right? So this is where I come in. And it's just like you if you went to physical therapy. You could know all the exercises and you could even look it up online. And I'm sure that the physical therapist, the professional, knows more exercises than that are shown online. However, you attend and you go, and they take those exercises, and what do? They put them in a certain structure, a certain order for your specific situation, for your specific needs, for your specific want, for your specific goals, for your specific desires, right? Not only that, but they have some additional exercises that aren't on the internet. Everything's not on the internet. So, and then additionally, they have the experience, knowledge, and skills in order to professionally apply those to benefit you, to help you, to support you in your rehabilitation or recovery. And that's exactly what I am doing with your mental strategies or mental skills, mental coaching, training, teaching, guidance. And so this is a very important concept. It's more important to remove something that's weighing you down than it is to add something. So another example, you have a pipe. It's designed to flow so many gallons of water, right? Everyone has a pressure valve at their home, most likely, or their apartment complex, wherever you live. Well, that pressure valve comes from the main line, the main feed. and it comes in, and it's coming in at a higher pressure. However, so that it can flow through that line. However, for it to come into your home, that pressure needs to be taken down. So it's too high of a pressure. So you remove that high pressure and you make it into a lower pressure and it feeds your home, your plumbing, right? And that's why the water, when you turn it on, doesn't gush out. It comes out at the right pace. And that's the same when you're working together, when you're playing together, right? Here's another example. I help and work with, and I help, support, work together, and play together with people who are professionals all the way to K5. So naturally, my customers who aren't professionals, obviously, I approach them in a different way. However, the ones who are professionals, and these are who are adults, okay, who are adults working, maybe adults who own a business, adults who are executives, adults who are founders, adults who are just professionals. One of the things is for my criteria, am I working with professionals? Because if I'm working with an adult and they're not a professional, then I won't work with them. I remove that from my customers, from my clients. I work with professionals. I help professionals, support professionals when they're adults. And therefore, we're able to work together. We're able to play together. And we have more successes as they define success, not as I define success, as they define success. And this is very, very important for you. If you've never had this question to yourself and answered it, is how do you define success, your success? It'll be different for each person. So that's very, very important. Now, sure, we want results. That's what we do. We get results. That's why they're coming to me, get results, outcomes, and breakthroughs. But in order to get those, what I help them and support them in creating is they already sometimes have their process, they have their system. If they don't, I help create them. Sometimes they have routines, sometimes they don't. They have habits, good habits. Sometimes they don't have good habits. You get the gist of this. Therefore, what I am doing is that I am adding my expertise now because, for example, hey, we have someone to work on the refrigerator. We have someone to work on the lawn. We have someone to fix the lighting. We don't have anyone to do any cabinetry work. We don't have someone who is able to configure the lighting so that we can use this new lighting system that has video attached to it so that I can also look into my home and keep an eye on my kids or just on my home and the neighborhood, make it safer, make it more effective, efficient.